is Naravan Dracovin, Lord and Emperor of the Dracovin Empire, and welcome. It is time to continue my discussion on Werewolf the Apocalypse in the World of Darkness. When we last left off, we've been diving into the spirit realm, into the umbra, into the nature of spirit and matter and what the garou understand about it, and how they use these two. So there is a very important note here. The way that garou perceive the umbra, the spirits, the nature of it, and the existence of it varies actually from tribe to tribe. There are some basics, which I've been covering, which are the same for all of them. But certain tribes, the Stargazers, the Glasswalkers, and the Silverfangs, each have their own opinions when it comes to this matter, specific opinions. I'm not going to dive into details about each of these three opinions. You can check them out for yourself to see how, if you're a member of these tribes, or perhaps if you're another tribe and might want to prescribe to a certain popular view of the umbra, you go to one of these. These are the three most popular views in amongst all the garou of how the umbra functions, the understanding of it, what it means for the umbra. But why don't we move on from there, though? Now, garou can travel from any place upon realm, any place upon the earth, to any other place using the umbra. They can attempt to use these through a series of moon bridges, connections usually from cairns to another, to travel great distances by moving from one moon bridge into the umbra, back into another cairn. The same process can be used to move anywhere within the umbra itself, that you can use this process to travel from one point in the umbra to the earthly realms to another point in the umbra. So there is this interesting connections, the fact that it can be a rapid transport system for the garou themselves. They have to have some knowledge of where they're ending up, and there are some limitations on this, but we can discuss this a little later. Just understand that this exists. Garou are one of the major groups from the earthly realm that travel into the umbra. They aren't the only ones. Human mages are particularly a group that love to travel into the umbra. Many of them will siphon off spirit energy for their various magical effects. The fact is that there are many non-shamanic mages out there which have an entirely different concept of how the spirit world works and a different respect for it. The shamanic mages can get along with the garou and oftentimes have similar views to them, which garou will definitely enjoy more than those that do not respect the spirit world quite like they do. Now, you almost have to look at the system of the umbra and the earth as similar to what we would look at as a planetary system. We see the earth as the core of the center of it. Gaia as the center of all existence. Out there, surrounding it, almost like an atmosphere, is the near umbra. This near umbra orbits around there with spiritual energy. Effectively, the two of them are the earth itself. The deeper the core is, it is technically a source of the spiritual energy. It's the core of Gaia herself. So in a way, the earth itself, though physical, emanates the energies of the spirit world itself, which surrounds it. But the gauntlet exists to keep the physical, the matter realm, from touching the energy realm, the spirit realm. So though this emanation comes out, it almost bleeds, is driven from the connections to Gaia and deep into the spiritual realms which orbit around it. The umbra the gauntlet forms a powerful veil which separates these two, though the two of these materials are oftentimes attracted to each other. Spirit and matter are attracted to each other and want to connect together. This connection wants to occur, it's just that we have a powerful barrier in the center of it. Garou can travel into the umbra from the physical realms by a mannerism of connecting to the spiritual world. The main way of doing this is using their cairns, bastions of spiritual energy that they can use with their moon bridges to travel into the umbra itself. Or if they master abilities that allow them to step sideways, piercing the gauntlet itself, learning how to overcome this force and traveling into the umbra. Now, as I said, we have the gauntlet, separating out our umbral, the spiritual world, and our physical world of Earth. The fact is that this barrier is constantly at odds. It, in fact, is constantly being bombarded on both sides by both matter and spiritual attempting to come together. This means that the barrier is not the same everywhere. Wherever you travel throughout the world, the gauntlet will vary. There are places where the gauntlet is stronger, that almost no spiritual energy leaks out into areas, and we find spiritual almost dead zones, area where spirit does not exist. There are other areas where the veil, the gauntlet is so thin that spiritual energy just bursts forth, wells up into energy. Many of these places of wells of spiritual energy have become sites of cairns, sacred place to garou, where they can harness the spiritual energies that they use, connect to the spirits which they learn their gifts from. Important places. Now as man connects up with the energies of the weaver in particular, and the energies of the worm, they connect up with things at odds with the wild, without the things that garou support. We find that the gauntlet has been strengthening. The energies that man currently creates in their form are at odds with the spiritual realm. They are strengthening the gauntlet and making it a harder thing to point, and the gauntlet has been getting harder to pierce as time has been going on. Garou do their best to mitigate this energy and keep the gauntlet from getting stronger as best they can. And they keep their cairns strong, because these cairns are the weak points, the connections between them and the spiritual realm that they're using to continue to connect to it, allowing the gauntlet to be pierced still easily. Otherwise, it's becoming more and more difficult for them to travel in the spirit realm on their own. There's areas of great difficulty, and still those that are still weak enough. It's finding the differences between them that can be important. This is actually expressed in the garou's ability to step sideways, to pierce the veil itself. Doing so, they have to go against a difficulty number that will depend on the area. The easiest difficulty is 2. It's virtually as easy as making a step. There's very little work, very little training recover. Some garou basically can get away with almost no training in order to enter into the umbra. These areas are getting rarer though. And on the back end of the side, a difficulty 9 area, it is nearly impossible to enter in the umbra from there. These areas are becoming more and more frequent, as we can see the upper shift on the difficulty of traveling into the umbra is occurring, mainly because of the effects of, well, man itself. We're breaking the connection more and more between spiritual and matter, even though the two still want to come together. So the gauntlet continues to be this insurmountable goal of overcoming, of breaking down that the garou have, but unfortunately it's at this point in time a losing battle, with it strengthening rather than weakening, which is what they would prefer. But that's it for today. So I only introduced you to a couple of simple things here. I of course mentioned the specific views of the umbra that certain tribes have. I would definitely recommend, if you're very interested in the opinions of these tribes and the way that they perceive the umbra, look them up. It's up to you how much you're going to dive into the spiritual side anyway of your garou character, and how much you're not. Your character can deal with the umbra, might not. It's not for every character. Not every character is naturally gifted with that ability. Decide for yourself. Beyond there, I continue to talk about the connections between, of course, Earth and the umbra, a little bit more how they worked, and talking a little bit more about the gauntlet and how that works, and how it can be very difficult to pierce. In the next episode, we will dive into cairns, because they're the opposite of some of the more difficult places within the gauntlet. It's the places where the gauntlet is the weakest, and then we'll dive into the penumbra, more layers of the umbra, and continue to expand upon our knowledge of the spiritual world of garou. But if you have any questions, comments, anything you want to say, anything you think I left out, please leave in the comments below. Please like, share, and subscribe. It shows support the channel, the empire, the work I do. If you want to show some extra support, you can check out my Patreon, link in the description below. There are some great rewards there. It helps to grow and improve the channel and the empire. But regardless, until the next time, I bid you farewell.